The youth group at our church went on youth study programs every year the first week in June, just as soon as school was out. Typically, we would have a service at church, and then we would have a fellowship with food, and then the kids would pile into their cars and off we'd go. Well, this particular year, we had an invitation from a church over in Michigan. We lived in the Milwaukee area. The most interesting way to get there was the ferry, and the kids were all excited. So we piled the kids into 2 vans. We had 12 kids. We went up to Manitowoc and got the ferry across to Ludington, Michigan. We had to do it on Saturday, though, so it was a little bit different leaving and on our way. The kids loved it. We drove it was what they call a car ferry. We drove our 2 cars on with a whole bunch of other cars, and we went up topside, and we just watched the scenery as we went by. It was, as I recall, about an hour-and-a-half trip across the lake. When we got to Ludington, we piled into our cars and we drove to this special camp. It was a brand new camp, and the building itself had been built in the form of a cross. The accommodations, the beds and everything were in the lower part of the cross, and the middle section was the greeting and the food, and I don't remember what was in the top of the cross, but anyway, it sat in a little bit of a valley. Well, we received our instructions when we got there as to how to take care of ourselves and what projects they wanted done. The major one was a path from this building over a little rise and down the other side to a lake. Well, the kids were excited about that too, because that would have been a lot of hard work, but it would have been very, very well appreciated. Well, we got settled in, and our minister was with us. Our minister was in charge of the spiritual evening program. I was in charge of the work, and Joyce was food. Joyce is always the cook, and the kids love it. They really do. She's a good cook. So we got our evening meal on Sunday, and we had our gathering, and the kids went to bed. They didn't go to sleep, but they went to bed. Next morning, we got up, and we started on our projects. They worked hard on that pathway, up over that rise and down the other side. Being in the area that it was a sandy bottom, so it wasn't like digging in Georgia clay, but they were able to cut a nice path up the side of the hill and down the other side. Well, a week went on. We were doing very well. They worked hard during the day. We had some good sessions with our minister in the evening, and everything was going well until Wednesday. Now, any of you that have worked with kids know that Wednesday is the day that they all hate each other. Just the way it is. They're mad at this, they're mad at that. Well, the boys went on a panty raid. They got into the girls' underwear, tied all the bras together, and ran it up the flagpole. Girls were not very happy, and you can imagine they were contemplating revenge. So the next day, Thursday, they got their revenge. They went into the boys' underwear, soaked it down, and put it in the freezer. Then they ran that up the flagpole. The boys weren't real happy about that either. But anyway, as Friday came and Saturday, everything kind of melded back together again. We were friends. They finally finished that path over the top of the hill. So Friday night, we were having our campfire over beside the lake. We had taken some paper bags with some little candles, and we had decided that every child would get one of those. So we adults went over the hill and set these out along, luminaries they call them, set them out along the side where our campfire is here. The seating was logs around, and these luminaries were behind the kids. We had a wonderful time there. We asked the kids, what did you like best? What did you not like? What did it do for you spiritually? and the stories were really gut-wrenching. So we decided to dismiss them and told each one of them to take a luminary over the hill with them and be gone. And as the last luminary left, I turned to the minister and said, "What the heck are we going to do now?" Because we envisioned 12 bags with candles, and who knows what the kids would do with them. So we put out the campfire, went over the hill, and as we got to the top of the hill, we looked down where the building was, and there in the form of a cross was our luminaries. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. It was the culmination of an absolutely fantastic week. There's a little sidebar involved with that. There was a man who was in our church who was separated from his wife, and his wife was in this church over in Michigan. So he had gone along with us, but he wasn't going to be part of the operation, and he was trying to get back together with his wife. And they did get together. It was a beautiful week for us and for them.